Before the world was at war, there was tension building slowly across Europe. After World War I, Germany had been left weakened, economically broken, politically unstable, and out of that instability, a new leader rose, Adolf Hitler, promising strength, power, and a return to dominance. But that promise came with expansion. One country after another fell under pressure until finally September 1st, 1939, Germany invaded Poland, and the world was at war. Europe was not just land. It was power, industry, trade, and military control. Whoever controlled Europe controlled the future. And by 1940, that future was slipping into the hands of Nazi Germany. On June 6, 1944, before sunrise, thousands of American soldiers sat inside small landing boats, heading toward a coastline they had never seen. The ocean was cold, the air was tense, and the silence was heavy. They knew what waited ahead: machine guns, explosions, and chaos. For many of them, this would be the last journey of their lives. But if they succeeded, they wouldn't just survive. They would help change the world forever. On September 1st, 1939, Nazi Germany invaded Poland, starting World War II. Using fast, coordinated attacks, known as Blitzkrieg, German forces quickly overwhelmed their enemies. Within a short time, much of Europe fell under Nazi control, changing the balance of power and setting the stage for one of the largest conflicts in history. By June 1940, France had fallen. German troops marched into Paris, and Western Europe was now under Nazi control. The speed of the victory shocked the world and left the Allies without a direct path back into Europe. On December 7, 1941, the attack on Pearl Harbor, the United States entered the war. This brought new energy and resources to the Allied forces. But the challenge remained: how to break into Nazi-controlled Europe. When the United States entered the war, it did not change everything overnight. But slowly, factories transformed. Cars became tanks. Steel became weapons. Entire cities became engines of war. Millions of Americans worked day and night because this war would not be won by soldiers alone. By 1942, the Allies knew they needed to open a second front. But the coastline of France was heavily fortified with bunkers, mines, and artillery. It was one of the most dangerous places to attempt an invasion. The plan became Operation Overlord, the largest amphibious invasion in history. Over 150,000 troops would land across multiple beaches, supported by thousands of ships and aircraft. To mislead the enemy, the Allies created fake armies, using inflatable tanks and false signals. This deception convinced Germany that the invasion would happen elsewhere. On June 5, 1944, Dwight D. Eisenhower gave the final order to proceed with the invasion. That night, thousands of paratroopers dropped behind enemy lines. Many landed off target, but they disrupted German defenses and created confusion. The invasion fleet crossed the English Channel. The sea was rough, and tension filled every boat. No one spoke much. Everyone knew what was coming. Inside those boats, time felt different. Every second stretched. Some soldiers stared ahead. Others checked their weapons. Again and again. Some whispered quietly. Others said nothing at all. Because in that moment, everyone understood what was about to happen. As the coastline came into view, gunfire could already be heard. The ramps dropped, and chaos erupted. Soldiers were hit instantly. The water filled with bullets and explosions. At Omaha Beach, the fighting was the most intense. With no cover, soldiers crawled across open sand, using anything they could find. For protection, small groups formed and began pushing forward. They climbed cliffs, destroyed bunkers, and pushed the enemy back. By the end of the day, the beaches were secured. D-Day was not just a victory, it was a turning point. For the first time, the Allies had a foothold inside Nazi-controlled Europe. The war was no longer one-sided. In the weeks after D-Day, Allied forces pushed inland, liberating towns and weakening German control. As they moved forward, they didn't just fight, they liberated. Cities that had lived in fear for years were finally free. On May 8, 1945, Germany surrendered. When the war ended, the world had changed. Europe was damaged, cities destroyed, but the United States emerged stronger as a global power. Thousands of soldiers lost their lives on D-Day. Their sacrifice made the victory possible. For many families, the war never ended because those who were lost never came home. D-Day remains one of the most important moments in history. It represents courage, sacrifice, and the determination to fight for freedom. Today, the beaches are quiet. The waves still move. The wind still passes. But beneath that silence is history. Because on that day, they didn't just fight. They changed the world. And because they did, freedom moved forward. After the war ended, there was no immediate celebration. Not everywhere. In many places, there's only silence. Cities stood damaged, buildings broken, entire communities trying to understand what had just happened. The war was over, but the impact remained everywhere. Europe had to rebuild from the ground up. Homes, roads, entire cities had to be restored. Families searched for loved ones. Nations searched for stability again. And slowly, piece by piece, life began to return. The United States was no longer just part of the world. It had become a leading force within it. Economically strong, militarily powerful, and now responsible for helping shape what came next. But peace did not mean the end of tension. A new kind of conflict began to rise, not fought on beaches, but through influence, power, and global positioning. The world had changed, and so had the way it would move forward. Years passed, but D-Day was never forgotten. Stories were told, memories shared, names remembered. Because what happened that day was more than strategy. It was sacrifice, human and personal. Cemeteries were built, rows of white crosses stretching across the land, each one representing a life, a story, a family, a future that never came to be. And yet, their sacrifice shaped the world for generations to come. D-Day teaches something powerful, that even in the face of overwhelming odds, progress is possible. That courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward. Despite it, today, the world looks different, but the impact of that moment still remains in alliances, in global balance, in the idea that freedom is worth fighting for. Behind every battle were individuals, not just soldiers, but sons, friends, brothers, people with lives, dreams, and futures that were placed on the line. And when we look back at June 6, 1944, we don't just see a battle. We see a moment where ordinary people did something extraordinary. They moved forward when everything told them not to. And because they did, the world moved forward with them.